I will say, Bowser's comments don't really compare.
Oh, really?
And here's why I don't think they compare to what...
Is that because Reforge Gaming is becoming a Nintendo fanboy before our very own eyes because PlayStation 5 doesn't have exclusives, bro? What is wrong with you, man? You out here defending mediocrity. Oh, because it makes me feel important, you know? I don't even care if the game is on the cartridge, bro. What is wrong with you, bro? Ever since the Switch 2 got announced, this man has been doing nothing but damage controlling for it because he understands that PlayStation 5 laws. They put all their exclusive games on the Switch as well as Steam through the PC platform. He understands that the direction of what he thought Sony was doing, and now he shifted towards Nintendo. How embarrassing.
Don Matrix said, okay?
Oh, really?
First, the current Switch 1 is $200 for a light version, the one that you can't dock, you just carry around with you. It's $300 for the standard, and it's $350 for the OLED, okay? That's an 8-year-old device.
Yeah, an 8-year-old device that's still priced the same exact thing as it was 8 years ago. That doesn't prove anything. All that proves is the fact that the Nintendo Switch should be priced differently. Like, come on, man. You really out here coming up with these excuses? Oh, it's because it's an 8-year-old device priced the same way it was 8 years ago? Like you gotta be kidding me.
A better screen, and it's $350. So the Switch 2 is $100 more than the most expensive Switch 1 model. That seems like a very perfectly reasonable price.
How is it reasonable? What do you don't understand? The Switch 1's technology is outdated. Like you said, it was 8 years ago. If anything, you just admitted as to why Nintendo should drop the price on the original Switch. It's still anti-consumer. I don't know how you trying to flip this, bro, but even when I'm sick, even a blind man can see the type of garbage that you're doing now, bro.
To me. $200 for the absolute cheapest Switch available on the market, the Switch Lite. So $200, then $300, then $350, then $450. That doesn't seem like bad pricing structure in the least.
Oh, really? Let's talk about that software. Let's talk about the $80 to $90 games. Let's talk about the fact that the vast majority of these games ain't even going to be on the cartridge. You know, game key cards. You know, wasn't you an advocate for physical media? And you out here damage controlling for this because you feel like, now I got to abandon PlayStation to get on the next winning team. I'm telling you, man, Puerto Rico's going to regret having this dude on his little 60 Frames Pony podcast after he find out what this dude is doing behind the scenes.
Did you really expect to get a brand new Switch 2 for the price of a Switch 1 OLED? An 8-year-old device? I think...
Yeah, did you also expect an 8-year-old device to still be priced the same as it was 8 years ago? Bruh. I mean, come on, man. There's no way in hell that you was out here damage controlling and defending Nintendo for these prices, man.
Expectations are very much out of step and out of whack. It seems to me to stem from outrage.
Just like would you pay $500 for an Xbox One that dropped in 2013? So according to your logic, you would spend $500 on an Xbox One when you could go pick up a superior Series X. That's essentially what you're saying, bro. Like, I really don't know how this dude is trying to spin this as if it's a positive for Nintendo. Even Nintendo fans be like, yo, what are you talking about, bro? That just goes to show you that the original Switch should have a price drop if this is what Nintendo's doing.
Sure, right? Nobody stops and thinks. This is a console handheld hybrid capable of 4K 60 gameplay when you dock it, right? If you look at the console market...
Keyword, when you dock it. And guess what? If we're talking about dock performance, there's no console better than that than the Series S. You know that. So let's stop the cap right there, because if we're using a portable device and using it to play on the dock, then guess what? The Series S, which is priced at $299, still better than the Nintendo Switch 2. So what is you talking about, bruh? You just said, oh, if it's docked. Okay, so if it's docked, why would I want a portable console just so I can dock it to have it have less power than the Series S? That literally makes no sense, bro. Oh, we got Cyberpunk at 1080p, 30 frames per second. But yet you paid $450 on top of paying $80 to $90 for a physical version of the game when you could have picked it up on the Series S for $20 on a sale. Like, come on, man. I don't know how you defending this, bro.
now, if you look at the handheld market right now,
Okay.
Nintendo Switch 2's price point is not out of step at all.
Oh, really?
This is a lot of just emotional reaction and knee-jerk rage at every turn. I honestly hope the Switch 2 sells well, if for one reason.
Yeah, so I can abandon PlayStation and actually join the winning team of Nintendo. This is all it is, bro. He understands that PlayStation 5 will never be the same, that exclusives don't matter. All it takes is for the next Xbox to have Steam, PlayStation games, access through Xbox, through their new platform, through the Steam. He understands that. That's why he's jumping onto the Nintendo bandwagon, because he still believes that they have the concept of exclusivity, bro. Grow up, bruh. I mean, at the end of the day, bro, you was out here damage controlling, looking at built-in mic for easy voice chat, something that's been available since the original Xbox. Like, that's crazy, bro.
I would really like the frugal fanatics that have suddenly funneled their way into the gaming commentary to
find like
a new hobby, or leave the rest of us alone.
Coming from the same guy that paid $700 to $800 for a PS5 Pro for negligible differences in his games. See, now the difference between, actually, you know what? Let him speak a little bit, and we'll get to that point in a minute.
Been gaming since the late 80s, and it's never been a cheap hobby. The incessant insistence that it should be more affordable or cheaper, it's
not that, bro. Hold on.
Tiring.
It's not that you're not understanding, bro. It's the fact that Nintendo has no justification for the price of these Switch cartridges. Even I broke this down. If you're using a big storage capacity cartridge, right, for the Nintendo Switch, then yes, I can understand the upcharge as to why, the consumer would pay to have the game on cartridge, keyword, to have the game on cartridge and have to pay for the upcharge, because they would have to manufacture a bigger cartridge, which would only cost the company more money. So therefore, we take the hit. I don't think people have a problem with that. It's the fact that Nintendo put in 10 gigabytes of space in a 16 gigabyte cartridge, and now all of a sudden, now it's $80. Like, that's crazy, bro. I don't care what anybody. It's the fact. It's the fact that you're allowing these companies to take advantage of you, bro. Like, if you're gonna support it, that's fine. I even had people tell me, "Hey, I'm gonna buy one," but yo, Gamester, you is right about what Nintendo's doing. That's all people expect you to say. But no, he wants to fight against the grain. He want to sit there and take a stance like, "Oh, this is great for gaming." Oh, okay. This really is great for gaming. Okay.
Structure of other devices in the market right now. It's well within its own pricing structure compared to the fact that they never really budged on price with the Switch 1, the Lite, or the Switch 1 OLED. So we'll probably get into it today. The pricing discussion.
Imagine if Microsoft and Sony did that, keeping the PS5 at the same. I mean, it technically is, but even Sony's like, hey, we're throwing 2 games, Astro's Playroom, because they're trying to cater to the market. They understand that it's a 5-year-old device. You know what I'm saying? Even the Slim without the disk drive, that's $400. And guess what? That console is still more powerful than what you're getting with the Nintendo Switch 2. You people haven't came up with not one legitimate justification as to why the Switch should be priced at $400, at least as of right now, $450. $80 to $90 games. There's no justification for that, bro. And you people know it, especially when you got third-party companies out here using game key cards. Okay? I thought you was a physical media guy. That's what I used to hear from you on PlayStation. Now all of a sudden, you out here advocating for game key cards. Like, this dude is ridiculous.
I really don't know. A callback to the Xbox One. I don't think it's analogous to what Don Matrick said, because Don Matrick was basically saying, if you don't have internet, you can just buy the 360. People were taking issue with a requirement within the device.
And that's exactly what's going on with the Switch. If you don't have internet, you can't access Street Fighter 6. If you don't have internet, you cannot play Bravely Default. What do you don't understand? It's the same thing, bruh. Y'all like, wow, Gamester, you're right. And you want to sit there and say, oh, it's different. The only thing that is different is that it's from a different company. And you out here defending this garbage.
What Doug Bowser is saying is,
tell me.
We have a whole suite of devices. You can, if you can't afford this, we have other devices.
Oh, right? But when Xbox did it with the Series S, y'all had a problem with it. Oh, that's funny. When they said that you didn't have to spend $500 on an Xbox and you can get the Series S as an alternative, y'all was saying that was holding back gaming. But now all of a sudden the Switch 2 ain't? What?
Like, it certainly doesn't have the greatest optics, but that's their view of the Switch.
What?
When you're in your 8th year of a device and you're at 150 million sales and you only just recently had a slowdown in your actual sales curve, like a significant slowdown, what he said's not crazy.
Really?
They're still selling Switches. It's one of the most popular devices ever sold. That's literally a repeat of Don Matrix's sentiment.
Tell him.
It comes across as extremely tone deaf.
Tell him.
No, it doesn't come across as tone deaf.
What?
Because Nintendo is still positioning the Switch as an available option. They're not treating this like a generational shift.
What? Yo, did you just... Bruh, even Nintendo fans, they're like, what are you talking about, bro? That's why we're getting Cyberpunk. That's why we're getting some of these modernized games. Did you just say that the Switch 2 is not a generational leap? Oh, bruh, I gotta rewind it.
Extremely tone deaf? No, it doesn't come across as tone deaf.
Apparently you're tone deaf because you clearly don't hear what's going on here. But please, sir, please explain this to this man again.
Because Nintendo is still positioning the Switch as an available option. They're not treating this like a generational shift.
Nintendo is not treating this like a generational shift. Then explain as to why Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World are only accessed through the Switch 2. Street Fighter 6 and a few other mentions, even Cyberpunk. Oh, it's not a generational leap for Nintendo, according to this fool over here. What are you talking about, bruh?
They have not treated this like a generational shift. It's not.
Then what's the point? Then why are you advocating for? So, all right, you know what, man? I'm going to explain something. Even though the PS5 Pro is anti-consumer, but you know what? In that case, that makes more sense because guess what? Yeah, you could buy the Pro, but you're still getting your games on your PS5. So even if you don't want the Pro, you're still very much getting the same games the Pro would have got. Okay? So in that case, that would make more sense. It's not really a generational leap. But for you to use that same type of language with the Switch 1 going to Switch 2 is absolutely crazy to me. How can you sit there and say that?
The same at all. Xbox.
It's not the same. Yes, it is.
This is the new era for Xbox. This is the new Xbox. Switch. Nintendo's like, no, we still have the Switch.
This is the new... Bruh. Even Nintendo fans like, what are you talking about? This is the new era for us. This isn't the new era for Nintendo. Bruh. 4K, 120 frames, even though it's docked on the Switch 2. Oh yeah, 120 frames on the screen. Obviously, that's not a generational leap for Nintendo. Clearly, it's the same thing. Clearly, according to Reforge Dummy Gaming over here, it's the same thing.
The cards are compatible. The games are compatible.
That's not true. Bro, you was out here lying. Bro, there's even people that said that some of the games don't work. Some of the games are still in testing. Not all the accessories work. Hold on, bro. You want to sit there and say that? Bro, you can't even use the micro SD card that you got for your Switch 1 to even carry over your Switch 1 games. Xbox and PlayStation 5, if you have an external drive, you can't use it for the SSD games, but you can still use it for the older titles. But for Switch, oh no, you got to put those Switch 1 games on this new micro SD espresso card. And you want to sit there and talk about this ain't no generational leap for Nintendo.
You can play games, you can trade games. The Switch 1's included in the marketing, brother.
Bro, you was damage controlling, bro.
Compatible, the games are compatible.
Not all the games are compatible. What are you talking about? People are already complaining that some of the controllers are not going to work. Can I use my old Joy-Con? I can't. What are you talking about, bro? This is probably the most least compatible device that we've ever seen from Nintendo. You can't use the SD cards. You can't use some of the games. Bro, you can't even use the old Joy-Cons. Like, what are you talking about, bro? And you out here talking about, oh, we trading games? Bro, you could have already done that already. Except the difference is when you trade your game, one person's left with an empty screen and the other person's running off with your game for 2 weeks.
You can play games, you can trade games. The Switch 1's included in
Bro, you could have already done that.
Marketing, brother.
Wow.
Xbox didn't include the Switch 1. Xbox didn't include any of the previous Xbox in its marketing.
Are you serious, bro? Are you going to sit there and say that the Series X ain't a better Xbox One? Because that's exactly what it is. What are you talking about? Every game, including accessories, controllers, even headsets, are all accessible through the Series X. I can use my Xbox One controller and play Series X games. What are you talking about, bro? From games, smart delivery, and everything. And you out here sitting there saying, oh, but Xbox you can't. What are you talking about? An Xbox is better.
The Switch 2 has included the Switch.
Xbox better. Xbox better. I swear. Now I see why people said this in your chat and you called it harassment. Xbox is most definitely better. Clearly.
One in its marketing.
Wow.
It's not even remotely the same at all. It's a complete...
Yeah, we know. Xbox did it better, and Nintendo's out here nickel and diming you for everything. Yes, we understand that. You're right. They're not the same thing, because Xbox is better.
A different way that they're positioning the device. They're like, this is a new Switch alongside these other Switches that we have.
No, they're not, bro. If that was the case, then Mario Kart World and was the other game, they would all be like Metroid Prime. They would all be cross-gen. Clearly, Nintendo took that stance with Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World. You cannot sit there and say that. You can only play the upgraded version on the Switch 2. But you out here saying that, oh, Switch 2 is just like all the other Switches. No, bro, that doesn't even make sense, bro.
Now, yes, eventually, probably in like 2 years, they're only going to be making games for Switch 2.
Bro, what are you talking about, bro? They already doing it now. Switch 2 got 2 exclusive. Matter of fact, the Switch 2 has more games that you can access on the Switch 2 than you can with Switch 1. Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6. I don't know about the Brave. I think even the Bravely Default, I seen it with the Switch 2 tag for some reason. I don't know why that is. So what are you talking about? Nintendo's already kind of took that stance, except the difference is they're charging you for all these upgrades. Unlike the PS5 Pro, as expensive as that console is, you get the enhancements when the company decides to put it. So you don't have to pay for anything. If it says Pro Enhance, then you get the Pro Enhancement. Now, Switch, you got the enhancement over the Switch 1, but then they say, oh, you got to pay $20 extra. And you out here defending this garbage.
And it'll feel more like a generational shift.
Wow.
But that's not how they're positioning this.
Really?
The fact that their very first Switch 2 commercial had a Switch 1 in it, it's exactly the same. You can keep asserting this the same, but it is
most definitely the same, bro.
People's issue with the Xbox One, when Don Matrix said what he said, they were like, well, what if we don't have internet all of the time?
Well, maybe I don't have internet. Well, there goes my Street Fighter 6 game card. What about that Bravely Default? You know, that game key card. Oh, well, I guess I can't access that game either because I don't have internet. Clearly, that's not the same thing, guys.
We're coming from 360 to this era. Well, what if we don't have internet? And he's like, well, if you don't have internet, you can buy the 360. And it's like, no. You're not solving the problem. We already have the 360, and we don't have internet. You're not solving the problem. That's not what Doug Bowser's saying. Doug Bowser's not like, oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, clearly there's some backwards compatibility issues with some of the games I don't have for Switch 1 going to Switch 2. Clearly Nintendo don't care about that unless the games that they've updated, they're the ones charging you $20 for. Have you noticed that? All the 122 games from Nintendo, all of them were working fine. And I find it funny that those games, out of that time that Nintendo did, those are the ones they're charging you for the upgrade.
If you don't have internet, you can just buy our previous device that doesn't require internet. It's like, we already have your previous device.
Well, guess what? Most Switch owners already own the previous Switch, buddy.
He's saying...
Bruh, you know what, bruh? You guys let me know if y'all want a second video. This dude is absolutely losing it, bro. Like, he ain't even a PlayStation fanboy now at this point, bro. He's a straight-up Nintendo drone. This dude is clearly about to jump ship to the next console. He knows that the PS5 Pro was a disappointment. He knows that they got a lack of games. Now, the Switch 2 is making him feel ultra important because it has some exclusives, even though some are still going to the Switch 1. But, you know, you can clearly see that this man is jumping ship. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this video, man. And Reforge Gaming, you ain't nothing but a hypocrite.